Welcome to the 35th Annual Historic Preservation Recognition Program, our Golden Globes of a sort. My name is Jenna-Lee Swaim, and I am the chair of the Historic Preservation Commission, which comprises 11 volunteers who apply to be on the commission. Some live in historic districts, but not all. And they are appointed by the City Council for 3-year terms. The names of our commission and our mission is on the back of the brochure. This commission absolutely could not fulfill its mission without a city staff person as skilled and diligent and resourceful as Jessica Bristow, whom perhaps some of you have worked with on your projects. She brings a lot to the job and works really hard and believes in it passionately, and it's a pleasure to work with her and to learn from her. Thanks also to Bob Miklo, senior planner with the city and the guiding light for preservation in this community for many years, and to intern Sylvia Bachner. And you all know how many loose ends interns pick up for us, so we're grateful to her. Very briefly before the program, I'd like to just sketch out a few things that the commission and staff accomplished in 2017. That included about 25 major reviews by the full commission of people wanting to make some kind of exterior repair or alteration to their building. And these require a lot of work ahead of time with Jessica and the applicant, and before it gets to the commission, and then sometimes has some good discussion and thought applied to it at meetings as well. Besides that, there are about 70 minor reviews that just involve staff and chair. We've implemented 2 grants that we had received the year before. One is a grant from the National Park Service. They had a special focus of civil rights, and we applied to get a grant to recognize 2 houses in Iowa City, the Federation Home and Tate Arms, which played a role in the struggle for equal housing. And so with that grant, which is underway, we'll be getting some National Register nominations and signage and educational materials. The other one involves rehabbing the roof on the log cabins at City Park. During the year, we nominated the Johnson County Savings Bank to the National Trust of Historic Places, designated 10 South Gilbert, the former Unitarian Universalist Church, as a local landmark. Began the process seeking landmark designation for 7 houses, most of them in the north side, and some of them dating back to the 1860s. We launched the review and update of the downtown survey, thanks to funds from the Iowa City Council and the National Trust for Historic Preservation. The purpose of that survey is to identify properties or areas of downtown that are eligible for National Register listing and districting. We hired a consultant, Alexa McDowell, and besides doing a ton of research and evaluation, she conducted several one-on-one conversations with stakeholders and held 2 public programs. Watch for more of this on this summer. Our historic downtown buildings are one of our most important cultural and economic assets, and we want to work hard to save what's there and make it all work together. Last year, the commission rolled out an exciting new Historic Preservation Fund program. This idea was proposed by City Manager Jeff Fruin and adopted and funded by the City Council, and we're very grateful for all that. Very briefly, the fund provides small grants and loans to owners of eligible buildings to help them with rehabbing and preserving exterior architectural features. One thing that we're working on now and started in about September, it involves a Sanksay Gilmore House at 109 Market Street. It's a brick house. I'm sure you've seen it. It's one of the loveliest houses in Iowa City. It's just west of Gloria Dei Lutheran Church. And we are working with the city and the university and the church to try and find a way that the house can be preserved and used and maintain its historic context And what makes it particularly incredibly important is that we found out that this is the oldest house in Iowa City. We always believed, according to some very good research, that it was built in the late 1850s. Well, more research in property records and newspapers revealed it was built by March 1843. That's very early in Iowa City history. So this is truly a gem, and we're all going to try and find the win-win solution for this. So that's some of the work we've been doing, but really tonight's about the work you've done. What you've accomplished makes our town a more vibrant, sustainable, and meaningful place to live and work. I want to thank Midwest One for sponsoring the event, as they have several years. But before I turn the program over to Alicia Trimble, the Executive Director of Friends of Historic Preservation, I'm going to ask your indulgence. This is the last year I'll be presiding over these as the commission chair. I'd like to share a somewhat personal conversation that I had a few weeks ago that unintentionally gave me some insight about tonight. So I have a granddaughter who is almost 7, and she knows that I am exactly 60 years and 1 day her senior. A few weeks ago, she felt the urgent need, again, to remind me that, Nana, you're old. I shrugged and winced, made a sour face, rolled my eyes. "What's wrong, Nana?" she said. "Why don't you like to be called old?" "Well, Kinley," I said, "it's just that when people say someone is old and they use that tone of voice, sometimes they mean that person isn't very energetic." "Oh," she countered, "you're old and energetic." "But Nana," she said, always getting the last word, "you are really old." Well, here's my insight. These awards tonight honor that wonderful and sustaining combination: the really old, your fine historic houses, and the really energetic, all of you. Thanks for your hard work and congratulations. Alicia.
Hello, as Jenna-Lee said, I am Alicia Trimble. I'm the Director of Friends of Historic Preservation. I'm excited to be back here again for another year, so my mom can watch us again over and over and over again on Channel 4. I'm going to start this talk the way I always started. Friends of Historic Preservation has had a particularly busy year this year. Following the success of 2016, we began in 2017 giving back to the community by continuing a series of educational opportunities to spread our preservation knowledge throughout the community. In January, we taught a window rehab workshop, and in March, we continued with an interior repair and painting workshop. We were honored to bring Bob Yap to the Hausger-Metzger House to teach his passive floor restoration workshop to a sold-out class. Bob, by the way, donated his services. He didn't take a penny from us, even for travel. And Mark McCallum, who is here tonight, donated a room at the Burford Inn that night for him to stay in. So I'd like to thank them both. Bob's class inspired us to do this ourselves. The following month, we did our own floor refinishing class. Following our series of workshops, we began a series of garage sales to raise money for our efforts in saving the Hausger-Metzger house. Our members responded heartily to the call for donations for items to sell. We had great success despite the weather, and I really do think the weather was out to get us. I mean, you can't have that many bad weekends on yard sales. It's not possible. We still have items that we're selling. Some of them are going to be sold on Craigslist and on eBay, so keep your eyes open. Again, all the proceeds go to the house. Our fundraising and outreach continued this spring when we coordinated the 4th annual reuse-themed Craft Your Environment Craft Fair. In May, we held our Parade of Historic Homes and experimented with a new era as we toured homes built by Henry Fisk, an Iowa City architect, and other mid-century modern homes in Manville Heights and River Heights. The Byfield House was also on the tour, which just recently was put on the National Register and will soon be a local landmark in Iowa City. Given our busy activities the first half of the year, it's surprising that we found any time to continue our rehabilitation of our 125-year-old Hausger-Metzger house at 623 College Street. and development of our new focus on active preservation. Some of you may remember in 2006, we moved the house to save it from demolition, and then slowly, as many of you have been watching, began the rehab process with a skeleton crew and a few volunteers. We also used the house at the same time as a teaching laboratory. Despite the fact the house does not have a porch or new paint job yet, it will. Inside the house, it is being transformed, and most of the plumbing, electrical, and HVAC is complete. Windows, floors, and doors are being restored. Pieces of the porch are actually finished and off-site. And we'd like to thank B-Day Plumbing, Chambers Electric, and Mike Burlage for giving us their special nonprofit rates so that we could actually afford to save this house. We had students from our workshops return to help this summer, as well as local preservationists who have stopped by to help, medical students, and a host of other groups helping with the house, including Save Sierra Heritage, which is our sister organization in Cedar Rapids. We continue our reciprocal relationship with Save Sierra Heritage by consigning some of their salvage materials, as well as continuing to consign for the preservation station in Burlington, Iowa, run by the Burlington Heritage Trust, and the Mill Seed Company in Washington, Iowa, where funds are going to restore a historic seed warehouse there. We also, all of those are being consigned at the Salvage Barn, which is located at the East Side Recycling Center at 2401 Scott Boulevard. This fall, we hired Mike Marini, a preservation contractor and trades artisan who is new to the area from the East Coast. He is helping us make great headway on the house project. With his help, plaster doors and windows, exterior siding are being repaired. We've also been continuing to work hard in the community, including our recent work with Save Sierra Heritage and others in the state to get the word out about the recent dangers to the federal historic tax credit program. That did survive the tax bill, by the way, which is a good thing since it's actually revenue positive to the U.S. Treasury. This next year, we'll be doing much of the same we're doing this year. We plan on doing a whole host of events again, and we are looking to complete the Hauser-Metzger House before summer, and actively looking for more volunteers to help finish the house. So if you have an interest in, would like to learn how to repair your windows, rebuild plaster, passively restore floors or woodwork, build exterior stairs, rehabilitate a porch, prep a house for paint, or in the spring landscape, or a number of other things, you're welcome to see me after this program, or I can be emailed at alicia@ic-fhp.org. If you have expertise and want to help a great organization, we welcome you. And if you want to learn a skill, you'll be helping Friends of Historic Preservation complete their mission. Thank you all for attending tonight's event. We hope you enjoy the evening. Esther Baker will be up next to present residential paint and exterior finishes, our first category.
Thanks, Alicia. Good evening, and thank you all for coming here tonight. Just a bit of information after we present the individual properties that are being recognized tonight. We'd ask each owner, as well as any consultants, contractors, carpenters, designers, painters, masons, and material suppliers, to please come to the table at the front to receive their awards. And let's get started with 715 Clark Street. The owners of this 1953 home, Rob McCarthy and Kelly Stone, wanted a new color scheme that fit the neighborhood and stayed true to the design aesthetic of the house. They made sure to preserve and reuse original redwood siding where possible. They removed the plastic shutters and painted the window trim and window flower boxes in coordinating shades. A bright pop of color on the front door makes the house look cheery. Here's the before picture. The owners were happy with the results and received many compliments from their neighbors about the new look. The painting was done by Bridget and Kathleen McCarran with McCarran Painting. So congratulations, Rob McCarthy, Kelly Stone, Bridget McCarran, and Kathleen McCarran of McCarran Painting. Next, let's take a look at 530 East Davenport Street. The award for this two-part project in paint and exterior finishers goes to Cammie and David Poppin and KD Properties, the new owners of the home on 530 East Davenport Street. For the first part of the project with the previous owners, the extremely deteriorated stucco finish on the exterior of the house was repaired by John Beamer of Hawthorne Construction. Then new owners, Dave and Cammie, had the beautiful new stucco finish painted a two-color scheme by painter Jerry Stafford of Jerry's Painting in West Branch. The new color scheme really highlights the details of this 1924 American four-square house. Congratulations, Cammie and Dave Poppin of KD Properties, John Beamer of Hawthorne Construction, and Jerry Stafford of Jerry's Paintings. Next, when a contractor chooses to repaint his own home, you would expect an award-worthy project, exactly as we see in this house at 676 South Governor, owned by Mark Kennedy of Kennedy Construction and Michelle McAtee. Over the summer, they quietly prepped and painted this 1890s Queen Anne with its wraparound porch at the end of Governor Street. Little did they know that staff had photographed the work as a good example of paint preparation. The historically appropriate two-color scheme with dark red sashes emphasizes the Queen Anne trim and details. Congratulations, Mark Kennedy and Michelle McAtee. When owners Lisa Dunwald and Timothy Welter purchased their 1924 home at 1154 Hotz Avenue in 2015, the seemingly new paint coating had begun bubbling and peeling off because of a poor painting job. Some of the contractors they consulted suggested covering it with vinyl siding. But they wanted to preserve the original siding. They did their research and began the process of paint removal themselves. They consulted with Ken Rodzinski of, and I apologize if I mispronounce any names, of the oldhouseguy.com website on the color scheme and sought a painter to complete the project when it just became too much. This past summer, Wayne Newsel with Classical Painting scraped and repainted the house in his characteristically meticulous manner. The new paint job certainly drew our attention to this house east of Governor Street. Congratulations, Lisa Dunwald and Timothy Welter and Wayne Newsel of Classical Painting. Owners Robin Schiff and Nick Twemlow of 906 South Lucas utilized their creative talents when it came to choosing a painting scheme for the 1906 Free Classic Queen Anne house. They decided to spruce up the house by painting it with a Victorian scheme adapted for 21st century. They hired Wayne Newsel with Classical Painting, who tested 20 color samples to help them choose this three-color paint scheme that brings together historic colors in a modern tailored design. Tucked into a quiet corner of the Kirkwood and Walnut neighborhood, the house certainly stands out now. Congratulations to Robin Schiff and Nick Twemlow and Wayne Newsel of Classical Painting. The house at 1033 Woodlawn was built in the late 1800s and after several historic changes, underwent a remodel in the 1990s. In 2007, it came under the care of Ron and Jennifer Deniston, who recently decided it was time to have its exterior refreshed. They wanted to move from the rosy colors of the 1990s to something crisp and modern, yet historically appropriate. After researching colors and taking cues from other properties they liked, they chose this three-color paint scheme. The work was painstakingly completed by Adam Perez Zacarias and Alberto Perez Tenorio with A4 Artistic Painting of North Liberty. The old damaged wood and window glazing was replaced, and the siding was also scraped and repainted. Congratulations, Ron and Jennifer Deniston and Adam Perez Zacarias and Alberto Perez Tenorio of A4 Artistic Painting. Congratulations to all of our winners in the category Paint and Exterior Finishes. And now we're going to move on to residential rehabilitation. Iowa City's University Partnership purchased this hidden rental house at 115 North Dodge Street from Mercy Hospital this year and immediately began rehabbing its exterior. Josh Lenz of Lenz Construction removed the vinyl siding and screens enclosing the front porch. They repaired rotten wood trim and siding. Andrew Blauvelt of Bluefield Painting consulted on the historic paint colors and then prepped and painted the house. Repair of windows and weather-damaged front door round out the exterior rehabilitation on this 1920s craftsman bungalow that will once again become an owner-occupied home. Congratulations to the City of Iowa City's University Partnership, Josh Lentz of Lentz Construction, and Andrew Blauvelt of Bluefield Painting. James and Nina Petran purchased this 1928 house in 1997 as a fixer-upper that they believed was the worst house in the best neighborhood. Over the past 20 years, they have completely remodeled the house, doing what they could every year. The exterior was the final step. James drew sketches of the front facade and the new porch detail with a decidedly craftsman aesthetic, sensing the potential stylistic origins of the house. Asbestos siding was removed and replaced with lap siding on the first story, second-story shingled siding, and board and batten gable detailing. The second-story exterior work was completed by Boyd Crosby Construction. As the final part of the project, the undersized front porch was removed, and James, with the help of Scott Wilcox, built this craftsman porch from his drawings. Congratulations, James and Nina Petran, Boyd Crosby Construction, and Scott Wilcox. Cornelia Lang and Mike Fallon purchased the 1906 house at 804 Ronalds in late 2016 with plans to make a few upgrades before moving in. There were a few problems that needed to be addressed. The kitchen was inadequate, a second-floor bath was ready to fall into the kitchen below, and there was no view of the expansive backyard except from an attic dormer with a sliding glass door to nowhere. Beth Rapson of Regarding Home was called to the rescue to design and manage the renovation. With the expertise of Rob Rich of Homeworks, they added windows and a taller French door to the backyard. The scary dormer was removed and replaced with a skylight. Vinyl siding was removed from the other dormers, and the east side of the rear addition was remodeled to incorporate a better kitchen layout. Brian Eppen rebuilt the exterior stoops and repaired siding. Windows were repaired, and Don Edwards of Edwards Painting prepped and painted the entire house. Congratulations to Cornelia Lang and Mike Fallon, Beth Rapson of Regarding Home, Rob Rich of Homeworks, and Don Edwards of Edwards Painting. Charles Hawtrey of 715 South Summit Street recalls that about 2 years ago, his wife Joanne and daughter Nicole were talking about the exterior appearance of the house. They noted the damage and paint peeling on the ancient aluminum siding. 5 decades of rain and hail had taken a toll. Charles and Joanne consulted with Emerson Andrushak, who encouraged their desire to restore the exterior to its original siding. Once Emerson removed some of the siding, they recognized that some of the details would need to be rebuilt. Fortunately, they had a 1906 photograph of the house as a guide. Emerson and his crew removed the siding and rebuilt details. Some of the profiles were evident in the portions remaining on the house. The old peeling paint was stripped and the house insulated, and a primer coat was applied. This spring, McCarran Painting completed the final steps and painted the house. Congratulations to Charles and Joanne Hawtrey, Emerson Andrushak, and McCarran Painting. Congratulations to all of our winners in the category Residential Rehabilitation. Now, let's take a look at additions and new construction. This project at 328 Brown Street, owned by Jackie Briggs and Eric Gidal, consisted of 2 parts. First, the upper story railing on the front porch was reconstructed using a historic photo as reference. Second, this 1891 Victorian had a new 380-foot addition. Because of the difficulty of adding onto a brick house and attempting to match brick, likely impossible in this case, the wood-constructed front porch formed the basis of the design inspiration to construct the addition as if a rear porch had been enclosed for more space. The addition rests on a new stone foundation that matches the home's original stone foundation. The back porch has 3 corners of columns whose style is taken directly from the front porch. When the new back room was completed, the outside back wall of the house became an interior brick wall, and an exterior arched window was left intact and incorporated into the design of the room. The home's arch-topped mahogany door was conserved and placed as the addition's new back door. All yellow bricks removed from the back wall of the house were conserved and stored on the property. Exterior trim and panel details were designed to work with the porch theme. The end result is a modern, warm, and light-filled family room that allows easy access to the garden and driveway. Its new design integrates well into this 1890s-era North Side home. Congratulations, Eric Gidal and Jackie Briggs, Rob Rich of Homeworks, Ken Gilbaugh of Gilbaugh Masonry, and Mark Lyons, Roof Rider. Mark Ruggeberg and Bob Brooks, owners of the Brown Street Inn at 430 Brown Street, had a one-car garage on their property that was totally unusable, too small for modern vehicles, termite damaged, and the victim of unfortunate alterations. Its overall style and color also clashed with the inn's aesthetic. The innkeepers partnered with architect Will Downing of Rohrbach Associates and landscape architect Steve Ford to design a two-car garage that would mesh harmoniously with the inn. Grading issues on the site required the design of stone retaining walls, which also provided an opportunity to create a rain garden to catch runoff from the larger paved driveway. Mark and Bob hired Darren Spendler of TD Builders as the contractor and Curtis Schoenthaler of Fiddlehead Gardens for the landscaping and retaining walls. The final design includes a simple front-facing gable and paneled carriage-style overhead garage doors. Cement fiber lap siding, roofing materials, and paint colors were chosen to match the house. Congratulations to Mark Ruggeberg and Bob Brooks, Will Carlson of Rohrbach Associates and Steve Ford, and Darren Spendler of TD Builders and Curtis Schoenthaler of Fiddlehead Gardens. The owners of 1190 East Court Street, Joseph and Jeannie Patrick, were committed to do no harm to their historic house as they planned an addition to create a first-floor bedroom and bathroom so that they could remain in their home while aging as gracefully as their 1890 Victorian. The addition would extend out the back of the house and meant alterations to their well-cared-for garden. They started drawing up plans nearly 8 years ago and finally brought their dream to reality with the help of contractor Russ Garrett of Garrett Construction. Their goal was to remain true to the original structure, incorporating all of the characteristics of the main house in the addition, from exterior elements like the limestone foundation and matching windows to interior details, including diagonal fir flooring and matching light fixtures. Joseph and Jeannie credit Russ and his staff, Doug, Lucky, and Adam, plus their expert subcontractors, for bringing their vision to reality. Wood clapboard siding was installed and painted to match the rest of the house. All trim and details like corner boards, window trim, and gable fish scale siding was also carefully chosen to match the original. Congratulations to Joseph and Jeannie Patrick and Russ Garrett of Garrett Construction. After moving into their small but charming 1920 Tudor Revival home at 408 Fairchild Street, owners Kevin and Molly Bell knew that they needed to make some changes to eke out some more space. With the help of Frank Wagner as contractor, they added both living space and storage space. The home's only bathroom was located in a 10-foot shed dormer on the second floor. By extending the width of the shed dormer across the back of the house, they were able to both enlarge the existing bathroom and master bedroom, as well as add a guest powder room. The new construction blends in well with shake shingle siding and trim to match the original structure. We would have included a photo of this part of the project, but the yard's too small to get back far enough to get a picture. Trust us, it fits in well. The existing garage on the east side of the home was not original to the house and didn't fit the character of the Tudor Revival architecture. The garage was removed and a garage-like storage building was constructed toward the rear of the property. The size of the structure is too small to serve as a true garage, but it provides the perfect space for parking the couple's 2 motorcycles and for additional storage. The lines of the new storage building mimic those of the house, with matching siding down to the shakes in the gable ends. Congratulations to Kevin and Molly Bell and Frank Wagner, Wagner Brothers, LLC. Congratulations to all of our winners in the category of additions and new construction. And now I'd like to introduce Thomas Agrin, a fellow member of the Historic Preservation Commission, to come up and present the rest of tonight's winners.
I will say that an extra credit for this project was that a neighbor of theirs salvaged the brick driveway off of this property and installed it at their house. So that's worth noting, I think. So the next category is commercial rehabilitation. And the first project is at 24 and 26 South Clinton Street. The rehabilitation of the 1870 building on South Clinton illustrates the impact an extensive renovation of an underutilized building can have on an entire downtown community. Prior to this project, the building had not been renovated for decades. It suffered from structural issues, antiquated building systems, and general deterioration. OPN Architects led the sympathetic rehab for the owner, Craig Byers. Contractor Darren Spendler installed a new roof and new utilities. Replacement windows were replaced again with more appropriate flat arched windows. Salvaged brick was reused, and the arches above the windows were recreated based on historic photos and other evidence. The ornamental brick cornice was rebuilt and repaired. A new storefront was designed to work sympathetically with the historic architecture and retain any historic materials still existing at the mid-level cornice. Congratulations to Craig Byers, Darren Spendler of TD Builders, and OPN Architects. The next property is at 812 South Summit. Deluxe Bakery occupies the 1900 vernacular house with the 1920s storefront at 812 South Summit Street. Owners Jamie and Jason Powers needed to finesse their access to both the upstairs apartment and their basement storage for the bakery while renovating the bakery area as well. They consulted with Mark Russo to design this two-story cross-gabled stair tower addition. Dan Lammers of Lammers Construction built the addition and reorganized the interior. First, the non-original rear entry porch was removed and the existing siding was repaired and prepped for painting. The addition was clad in matching siding and trimmed to match the existing building. The apartment was given a street presence with a front entry door, and the new stairs to the basement made it much easier to carry 50-pound bags of flour between the lower levels. Finally, the bakery was painted a deep gray with crisp white trim and black details. New signage completed the update of this favorite neighborhood bakery. Congratulations to Jamie and Jason Powers, Mark Russo, Dan Lammers of Lammers Construction, and Steve Warner of Warner Painting. Our next category is special mention, and these projects don't quite fit into the standard categories that we use because of the scope or the size or the idiosyncrasies of the situation, but we feel that these projects, or projects like these final three, deserve special mention and recognition. 415 Brown Street is our first one in this category. The story about this 1899 Georgian revival is all about the roof. A double-hipped roof with gambrel wall dormers and smaller hipped dormers is terminated with an internal gutter system. When owners John and Alejandra Fingert needed to replace the deteriorated shingles and repair a leaking internal gutter system, they ran into many contractors who wanted to remove the internal gutters. Instead, they worked with Mark Lyons of Roof Rider to reshingle the complex roof, evaluate the current downspouts, and repair the internal gutters and crown molding. Their work made sure the roof was still one of the most notable features on this home in a good way. Sorry, I forgot to cycle through the photos here so you can appreciate. Congratulations to John and Alejandra Fingert and Mark Lyons of Roof Rider. 501 Oakland Avenue is our next award. Carolyn Colvin's 1924 bungalow suffered from a set of stairs that lacked safety and aesthetic appeal. Sinking concrete stairs and a hodgepodge of railings were the focus of this project between the homeowner and designer Seth Wenger. Taking cues from the divided lights in the windows and the porch details, a modern black railing was designed to connect the house and landscape and was fabricated by Dustin Zook at Superior Welding and Fabrication. New concrete stairs lead up to a new extra-deep custom-milled cypress staircase at the porch, and new planting areas will soften the edge of the retaining wall and ease the step down from the house to the sidewalk. It's one of my favorite awards this year, actually, this railing. So congratulations to Carolyn Colvin, Seth Wanger of Seth Wanger Builders, and Dustin Zook of Superior Welding and Fabrication. This is our last award tonight, so bear with, it's a little longer than the other ones. This is a combination project of 804 and 814 Ronalds. Often historic preservation projects are all about working together, and whether it's finding materials or experienced contractors or researching means and methods, when people communicate and help each other, the result is a better project. This fact is exemplified in our final project, the garage at 804 and 814 Ronald Street I was going to say the north side, but Goosetown / north side neighborhood. This garage, one of our remaining shared garages in the north side / Goosetown area, for those that are feeling proprietous, was in a state of disrepair and needed structural drainage and exterior finish work. The owners at 804 Ronalds, Cornelia Lang and Michael Fallon, tied up with the extensive project that you heard about on their house. Neighbor Barbara Eckstein at 814 Ronald Street began the stabilization, repair, and drainage correction for the garage, with the project team at 804 joining in. Emerson Andershock stabilized the garage so that the interior wall could be reconstructed. James Frerick repaired masonry and the stucco. Emerson rebuilt the rear garage doors, and Brian Eppen did custom trim and some framing. Most importantly, LMP Concrete installed drainage systems inside and in front of the garage. Congratulations to Cornelia Lang, Michael Fallon, and Barbara Eckstein, and their group of consultants and contractors, including Beth Rapson, Emerson Andershock, James Frerick, LMP Concrete, and Brian Eppen.
Shall we finish with a round of applause for all of these wonderful projects and people? So this concludes our event. Thanks again for coming, and we'll see you next year.